Welcome back to the channel. This is your girl, Wicked Raider 22, coming to you actually from my other free-to-play account. And you guys know, I am an avid connoisseur of champions in general. Love acquiring new champions, kind of filling them out and seeing where they are and how they fit into the teams that I already currently have. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to be the same way. So here's the question. I've been wondering. I got really lucky on this account probably a couple of weeks ago, and I've been putting this off. But I pulled Frozen Banshee pretty early on, right after pulling like Painkeeper, I think, Hakatum. So right around the 30-day mark, which this was a really big one for me. I have heard so many creators talk about Frozen Banshee, but I also pulled a little bit after that Banshee. And so I was wondering what's the biggest difference? Which one would have the greatest impact on my account? And as you guys can see, I've been working on improving her and just running her on campaign teams, but I actually haven't stopped to, put gear on this particular champion. And so I wanted to kind of look at the two kits of these champions, do a little comparison, and of course, get some dialogue back and forth from you guys. Just trying to get a feel as a beginning player, which of these champions do you have a preference for? So I guess we can start with Banshee since she's already on the screen. Only has about 332 reviews, and ooh, at first sight, Spider's Den and campaign locations, faction wars are her strongest areas. So not a huge love from a girl in the community. Let's look at her skills. So she has Grave Chill, which attacks all enemies, has a 20% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for one turn. Now, I'm going to be honest. I like a champion that has attack all enemies for their first skill. This can be a big one. And I automatically started thinking of teams, especially with Aethel. If I'm coming behind it with either Host Ring or Painkeeper, kind of hopping in there, or High Katoon, since she's at one, attacks one enemy on that first skill. This is kind of nice. And I tend to hold on to champions a little bit longer that do attack all enemies for that first skill level. It's nice to be able to also go in and turn the other skills off so that they continuously will come back to a particular skill for you. There is the possibility to increase the amount of damage inflicted by 10%. And then the buff debuff chance can be increased by 10% as well. Not bad, not bad. Second skill is going to be Curse Touch. Attacks all enemies. That's interesting. Has a 50% chance of removing one random buff from each target. If she is able to lay enough damage, which is kind of what I'm wondering, because I haven't ran her through very many battles and actually paid attention to her damage level. This one may be nice, and you can get it down to a 2-turn cooldown. So both of her skills are actually attack all enemies. You can ascend this third skill, attacks 2 times at random. This is for Death Ray. Each attack has a 50% chance of placing a block active skills debuff for one turn. And you can bring this down to a 3-turn cooldown. Damage can be increased by 30%. I can see overall where she could be helpful. I'm kind of thinking. Now, I'll be honest. I can also kind of understand why the ratings are so low. Depending on when you're pulling Banshee in your gameplay, could have a really big impact on how you feel about her overall. It's kind of what I'm feeling, because I'm thinking about it. If I'm looking at even the first or the second skill, which this is a big one, if I am against a boss that I'm having a hard time with, and if she can actually be faster and hit first to decrease that defense, and then you come in with 1 or 2 nukers behind you, it could definitely make her worth it. She does have an aura where she increased resistance in arena in battles by 52. So not bad. So interesting set. Kind of makes me wonder if you master this champion out. And I'm thinking about accounts, guys, at this point that are under, let's say, level 50. So I'm thinking if you pulled her somewhere at like a level 20, 25, you got really lucky. I think I pulled her right around that point and just couldn't figure out what to do with her. But if you pulled her at that point, she could be pretty helpful. Now let's compare Banshee to Frozen Banshee. Frozen Banshee, of course, has been reviewed quite a bit more. Demon Lord, Dragon Lair are going to be her highest area. Oh, she is not loved in some areas. Ooh. I was assumed the way people talk about Banshee, I was assumed she was a really highly ranked champion, which she is not. So I have worked with her a little bit. I actually placed some artifacts on her that I just already had. So Death's Caress is going to be her first skill. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a poison sensitivity debuff. I can see the lack of love for this first skill. It's kind of hard to always have that if this happens, then this will happen. It's nice to go in with a champion that you know exactly what's going to take place. And that 5% poison debuff, you can increase it by 20%, but even at 25%, it's not that impressive. These are both rare champions, but I've seen better. The damage can also be increased by 20% from this attack as well. Second skill, Cruel Exaltation. Attacks one enemy, fills the turn meter of allies by 2% for each debuff on target. All right. Yaga the Insatiable filled the turn meter more than this one. It wasn't Yaga, it was Painted Blood. Fill the turn meter a lot more. I've seen turn meter fills up to 20%. So 2% is not impressive. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. Damage can be increased by 25%. The fact that it's only attacking one enemy, unless she is throwing out huge, I mean, nuke level numbers, would not necessarily be impressive for me. Frostblight level 1 attacks one enemy, places a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. And you can get this down to a 3-turn cooldown, and of course, increase damage by 20%. Kit wise, I'll be honest, I'm probably a little bit more impressed off the top by Banshee. What we can do, or what I can do really quickly, based on you guys see, artifacts are they are hurting right now. There's really no other way to say it. They are really, really hurting. What I think I'm going to do really quickly, which, I mean, we can go through and I can filter, pull my attack percentage. I'm thinking about putting her honestly in lifesteal really quickly. Divine Offense is another one that may be a pretty good one. Not my best pieces, of course, to place her in, but I just want to smack her in to a little something. And then this is again one of those areas that I will definitely have to come back and tweak. I have some areas that give me a little bit more as far as crit damage. I could, of course, put her in perception. You guys know I will put almost anybody in perception. Let me just check where we are silver wise. Looking pretty good silver wise. So that's not going to be the biggest concern. And it's about time to pull out a couple other artifacts as well. All right, so she is attack based. We can get that easy 15% boost. Neither one of you guys are great. I would love to have some speed on these boots, which I don't get any love. I don't think I own boots with speed on them at the moment. So the other thing is I've always wanted to forge, of course, and just kind of improve my artifact level. So we're not looking great right now. So here's what we're going to do. I think I'm tempted to do the attack by 15% just because I'm going to use this equipment on another champion. And we don't have the instant upgrade. Oh, Plarium, I wish. I don't even want to sit through to see it work. So I'm going to go through and just pull some gear that is already upgraded. I don't mind upgrading, which takes less time, but having to see this over and over again is probably one of the most annoying things ever. I'm just to be honest, I'm really at one of those points where if you are above level 20, you should be able to forego this whole little, animation. It is so unnecessary. You've probably watched it so many times by this point. I'll be honest, there are moments when I will avoid, as you guys just saw, even upgrading something only because I just don't want to sit through this. And seeing your silver leave you slowly does not encourage you to come in and upgrade artifacts. Like the fact they make you go all the way to level 40 just to avoid this animation is pretty impressive. Plarium. We can do better. We can do better in some very small areas that could definitely speed up gameplay. If you are free to play, you guys know our biggest limitation, honestly, is time. I have long said that. I've long just felt that way, that if there were areas in the game where I could save more time, it would definitely pull me in a lot quicker. I think the retention within the game will be a lot better. Even as I'm working through clans and I start to notice how, mid-game players, they move around from clan to clan so much. And you kind of wonder why. And then you figure out you're really just trying to position yourself to be as successful as possible. And at the end of the day, who can hold that against you? Hopefully, no one. So, um, this is one of those upgrades I've kind of put off as well. And I know that once I get to level 40, I won't have to deal with this animation anymore. So, saving up just on artifacts, saving up silver in general, just so I can upgrade and improve my level. It's going to be a big one. I definitely want to get in the XP banner is another one that I've been having to make sure I keep and I purchase in the market. Sometimes you look up and you earn them in a chest. I've earned a few through Arena as well, but for this account currently, we're not doubling that XP, and that's always a big one. So I'm gonna update and just slap on some lifesteal. Probably just go in and put perception on her real quick, and then I'll run her through. I guess we'll pick an area on campaign and just kind of go for it. We could just run it with just those two to kind of see how they do. I don't know how far in they would actually survive, which would be pretty interesting to see. But yeah, trying to find speed on boots for me has been really, really hard. I've actually managed to forge a couple of nice pieces, but my speed boots I have on other champions. And honestly, I'm just not at this point willing to um, move that. Attack 6% is probably where we're going to end up. Just trying to see what else I already have that's built out. This is 11%, so we can upgrade you to 12. And what I do, I know that, there are different ways to kind of approach your upgrades. So what you guys will see me do quite a bit is I will take one piece of gear that I'm really, really liking at that moment and just go ahead and equip it on a champion. And every couple of, you know, turns, once a week, every 2 weeks or so, I will go back in and kind of take a look at those artifacts, what they're doing, what they have, what they possess, and try to see if it would be better to upgrade or simply leave that artifact as is. Trying to find something with at least, okay, speed and attack percentage gives me a little something. The speed on boots is extremely hard to come by. If you have that, I've even had some 3-star artifacts that I've held on to because they have speed at a really nice level for the type of artifact that it actually is. So this should fully outfit out Banshee, and then we're going to run Frozen Banshee and Banshee side by side and kind of see how these two ladies fare. We can always go back in campaign, I guess, or we could pick a dungeon and see which one is able to survive and kind of take it from there. So I know there's probably a dungeon that's open currently, and this is what I'm talking about. Oh, it's exhausting. There we go. Finally, anything we can enchant you with, we're definitely going to take at this point. Um, the other thing you have to keep just in mind and in comparison, these champions can improve based on what you have them outfitted with. So if you are, lucky enough to have some pretty good gear, and I've seen some people with champions that probably aren't the best at what they do, but they have them gear it out fully, and it makes a huge difference. We'll go to dungeons and just kind of see how the ladies can go. Since we're earning anyway, I'll move up through Spirit Keep, so I'll take everybody else out. Let's throw Frozen Banshee in there first. And my girl Banshee, y'all, I don't even have that many people, and I'm over here struggling. There she go. They're side by side, like literally. So let's just throw them out there, kind of see what kind of damage they do. Should be a pretty easy battle, honestly, for both. So I haven't upgraded her nearly as much either. So Banshee is probably gonna die, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on her. Now, skill wise, when we're kind of looking, and I know speed wise, Frozen Banshee, of course, should definitely outdo her, but it's the attack all enemies, I think, is which is going to be the point that I'm going to really enjoy. And I may actually, after this battle, if she survives, go in and upgrade her just a little bit and kind of see where this sits. So as you can see, Frozen Banshee has a nice little hit. She's only a 4-star currently. Hasn't done very much. I don't have any masteries on either of these champions. But her little hits, it's kind of nice. I'm feeling it. The lifesteal is definitely doing its job at this point for lower level dungeons. So that's going to be helpful. So just looking at, wow, okay. And I mean, you can see 4-star fully ascended, of course. Banshee is 2-star ascended, but damage is right with each other. The amount of defense is there. And then, of course, support from those artifacts. So not bad. Not bad. Again, I think it comes down a lot of times to you may outgrow a champion, but it's not always wise to instantly just dump a champion based on the reviews. It comes down to where your account is going to lie. And these two champions are probably two that prove this more than some others. I have pulled like Host Ring, for example. When I did Life Taker is another champion. They aren't the strongest at what they do. They probably aren't the best, epics or legendaries in the game. But honestly, I have enjoyed gameplay with them. Like they've really been game changing for my account. And these two ladies, they aren't like hugely impressive, but they hit. So they may be able to get a little bit done. And I'm thinking if you have like a Dark Aethel, for example, guys, they're keeping up with each other, like toe for toe, all the way down. The only difference you're seeing actually is at the support level. So it's not bad. I want to push and kind of see how far in they can go because they're running these battles. I hadn't even checked the time. Pretty low level. Would love to see them do this in one hit. Now that would be a lot more impressive. But I'm kind of gauging my expectations based on the fact they are 4-star and not necessarily built out for extreme nukage either. So I think with better gear, if we spend a little time in Dragon's Lair, for example, in that dungeon, or even in Ice Golem, I could probably pull some artifacts that would be pretty nice. So that's going to be one of those areas to kind of consider as we move through. If you had to do a comparison, my question to you is where would the comparison lie? If you are kind of running through champions, what are 2 champions that you've run side by side and actually been impressed with? Do you have a rare champion that you're still more impressed with than its epic counterpart? Like all of those questions are kind of what flowed through my mind because seeing these ladies work, boom. Like Frozen Banshee has a little advantage, but also looking at levels, guys, just looking at levels. If she was level 40, which is kind of what I'm thinking at this point, and I'm really tempted to go in to see if there are some quick improvements that I can put on her. Just doing a little upgrading. Of course, it's not. I have not pulled actually very many champions with her. And just in general, to move her up just a little bit, because I'm going to do some sharp pulls in a little bit. But let's run her one more time and kind of see if that makes a difference. They have made it to level 3. Let's go to stage 4 and see how the ladies do. And this will be the last one, and we can close this one out. I've just been going through the champions that I already have to kind of see how I want to narrow down my team. Um, on my pay to play account, I guess I've started pushing myself to not so much narrow down, but to just build up those 1 and 2 star champions to completely use them as food to fuel my upper level champions. But on my free to play accounts, I've really tried to get to know the champions themselves to kind of get a feel for where they would best serve the team overall. Because I have not reached the point of awakening on any free to play account, um, I'm not necessarily to the point of, selecting a blessing and being so concerned about ascending champions. I've been running dungeons with the intention of just acquiring potions, knowing that there are certain champions I definitely want to hold on through mid game. And there are others that I'm not as familiar with. What I'm going to do moving forward is a little series that kind of looks at some of the champions we don't hear about anymore or haven't heard about. Yeah. Frozen Banshee here is 45, Banshee at 36. That support is still at 10,000. They're both able to hold their own. So it's pretty impressive. They're doing it in a minute 3, so it's not the quickest team, but as a 2-team ensemble, I'm not mad. I'll be honest. I am not mad. So there's the question. If you have both of these champions, you may think about, I don't know if I would 6-star them. I'll definitely take both of these ladies to 5-star. If I have the opportunity to awaken them, um, honestly, material wise, as long as I have the silver that's available, I really wouldn't have a problem, awakening them either. Both of them strike me as 5-star though. They do hit in that area. I will definitely continue to work with these champions. I honestly think it'll be more than worth it to kind of see that, just kind of see where we can go in the end. If you haven't joined a clan, guys, be sure to type in 22WK. We would love to have you trying to build up to 10 members strong so that we can participate in the next Clan Be Clan. That's going to be the push. So if you haven't had that opportunity, go ahead, join us, let us know how things are going to go. And of course, let me know, where are you? What champions are you comparing to one another? What champions are you thinking about, trying to put a little focus on? Who would be your highest ranked 5-star champions at this point? I would love to hear from you guys. Well, that's all from me. I'll talk to you soon and happy playing.